All right, so I moved my whole setup out to the garage. Started wanting to print some ABS and ASA materials, tried printing them inside. Not a wise choice. Got kids, wife, and lungs, so I opted to move a lot of my setup to the garage. Once I started printing in the garage, it's the same situation. It was still pretty gnarly. The fumes that are created when printing those materials are kind of nasty, so not in a good way. Um, Original thought was this is my A1. I was just trying to. I didn't really want to put the electronics that are on the A1 in an enclosure. It's not worth messing it up. Parts are expensive, etc. Um, this is the exhaust vent that will take all the nasty stuff outside. Actually, well, you can see it inside of this bottom part of this shelf. I have a oh my gosh, what's it called? Resin printer setup, and then that is also exhausted through this. Those fumes are also nasty, also not in a good way. But yeah, so with all that in mind, I decided to move away from the endorphin to this like Mercury setup, Mercury 1 setup. It's my electronics enclosure here. I had these DIN rails already, but they were only about 12 inches long. And you need about 16 for this, or whatever it is in millimeters if you're not from America. But yeah, these DIN rails came in 12 inches, not long enough, so I had to extend this little part. So my electronic situation is kind of gross right now, but I haven't decided if I'm going to either like clean it up and put acrylic on here so you can see through it, which looks cool, but like whatever, or if I'm going to print a top for this, like I printed the bottom for this one, and just not worry about keeping my wiring set up clean. Customed this little piece here so I can have these 40 millimeter fans. One air in, one air out. There's another one of these on the other side. Just have some like crosswind ventilating that electronics enclosure. Originally, these acrylic panels I picked up off a dude from Marketplace. He was like stockpiling sneeze guards, COVID style, and he's getting rid of them pretty cheaply. So I got like 9 panels that I think are probably like 3 feet by 3 feet ish. About $50. It's a lot better than the quote I got from Tap Plastics just for one part of the electronics enclosure, either top or bottom, would have been $95, including like the holes and cuts and all that jazz, and that's nonsense. Just for one piece, like I'm not gonna do all that. It's not that serious. So I picked up these panels. The first thing I did was install this side. Cut them to where they like this panel will sit inside of that extrusion, right? And I just could not, with what I'm working with at home, couldn't get that cut. Well, like trying to think of the right size perfectly the way I would want it, to where like there's not a lot of wiggle room without taking way too much time to do it. So I moved from having them inside of those extrusions to mounting them on the outside over here. M3 bolt, steel washer, rubber washer, drop-in nut. Yeah, I think I prefer this way. It allows a little more leeway for making dirty cuts. It's not pretty, but so far it's functional. And because wanting to print those, ASA, ABS materials, the whole idea with this is just to keep it enclosed, keep the chamber temperature high enough to where I don't have to worry about anything, but also venting it to the outside. With that in mind, so this is the next thing I did. This, I guess it would be considered a top hat for this. Printed these extrusions just because I wanted to see how well they work. This is in some cheap PLA I got. It works. This isn't going to be supporting a lot of weight, so I'm not super concerned about it. These are some extrusion joiners I had. Got them off of Amazon Vine. They work very well. Very, very, very well. They work well in plastic. They work crazy well in metal. I was surprised. But yeah, got these corner brackets modeled and printed very poorly and quickly. this situation here is this is mounted on the underside. Put some heat press inserts into the plastic part here on the bottom this way. Bolt through the top, steel washer, rubber washer. The underside of this, also magnets, but also these holes that accept the tops, the heads of these bolts, so it sits on it relatively flush, but there's also a lip around there, so it keeps it pretty tight. It'd be a lot easier to take this off like this than if I had to, if I ever wanted to move the printer or something, than to take the duct off of this piece. It's just a lot easier to take the duct and the piece off together. So yeah, made that guy. That might be about it. Working on it. Did dual Z this thing at some point. Tested the motion on it. Works fine. It's kind of a pain in the ass to get in, but it's in. Yeah.